Hello, Pendra. It's good to have you. You are
Hi,
the one hosting the show because you are the interviewer here. I saw your
really?
video. I just got off Instagram. I saw your badass content creation. Now
Thank
you
you,
be a baby for
Edio.
this
We are
show.
going to be giving you food back to back.
I can't even wait. First of all, content that has to do with clothing, outfits, fashion is really nice. Then when you add when you add some acting to it, it gives it a different vibe, and that's something I really like. How
You
have
know
you
that
been?
as a small business owner, they said for us to actively leverage social media, we should
Yeah,
create content. And for a while
yeah,
now, some of us have been making boring content, sticker posts,
exactly.
poster kind of
Exactly.
content, or just pictures. So I decided to take it a step or a notch higher. I decided to do a
Yeah.
little bit of, acting.
Acting.
And to my
Nice.
amazement, I think I'm fairly good as an actress.
Yeah, you are. You're doing perfectly well, if you ask me. And what is it with these glasses? Did we agree that we're going to come?
Oh yes, this is the vibe. Hot mamas, right? We are bringing it hot. So
So,
Edidiam is doing the black and the white, and I'm doing the red and the monochrome. Okay,
O'Shea.
so this is styling 101. This is how to look stylish.
Oh, Lord. Anyways, we've been doing this series
Yeah?
as it came in my organization about the different milestones for children for child development, and we've talked about social child development. We've talked about brain child development. We've talked about physical child development. We've talked about, I think, about five different types of child development. And then in the last one, we're talking about the behavioral child development, which is kind of where we find parents struggle the most.
Yes.
And one of my team ladies sent me a message and said to me, Mal, I would like a parent to interview their pain point when it has to do with behavioral child development, because I realized that a lot of parents have those concerns. And I said, oh, that's nice. And I'm like, who else can I bring on this show to have a chat with us about child development? It's not going to be a long one. I'm sure this session is going to be about 10 minutes at the very most. So
Oh, okay.
I thought about Penzra, because Penzra has two lovely daughters. And the other day I saw a video of her literally holding her child's hand to knit with. And I'm like, what is this lady up to? Because I can imagine a 1 year, because a 2 year old, how old is Edima? Is Edima 3 already?
Edima is 2. She'll be 3 in
Yeah,
January.
exactly. This thing, I saw that video about a couple of months ago. So imagine a 2 year old already knitting, and to be able to the motor skills to do that, it requires motor skills to be able to do that, right? And the mother
Mm-hmm.
is already, putting in the work, holding her hands and helping her achieve that motor skill. And whether we like it or not, when it has to do with child development, having a child be able to gain their motor skills is part of child development. And I wanted to gain insight on what really pushed you to think that a 2 year old should be able to hold and start knitting, and that for you to for you as a parent to understand that, oh, if I hold her hand, she can eventually, it can record in her brain that, okay, this is how to knit, this is how to put the wool and get the needle in and out the way we usually do back then. Because I remember we started knitting in secondary school when we were already like 13, 14. Imagine a 2 year old knitting. So I thought about it, like, you probably may have a lot of questions and you may also have your concerns. I felt like, okay, let me bring you on board to share with us what your
Yeah.
concerns are to do with behavioral child development, because I know you have a 4 year old and then you have a 2 year old.
So, you
Yeah.
know that when I gave birth to these children, I thought that the most difficult part of being their mom would be the early stage where I had to take care of an infant, breastfeed, learn to breastfeed, and then
Yeah.
make the transition from breast milk to semi-solid food. I thought that would
Yeah.
be the most difficult stage of parenting. And I was like, I can't wait for you guys to start walking. I can't wait for
Yeah.
my babies to start walking so that I can be free. But you know what? The job just started.
Yeah.
Like, especially this behavioral part we are talking about, the behavioral development. My
Yeah.
children put up some behaviors that I need someone to explain to me what's going on. they put out some behaviors that I'm like, I don't know if it's my fault or if it's part of growing or if there's something I'm supposed to do. Maybe because I'm an adult, right? And it's been a while I've been around children, except my kids. So I don't really know how to handle them, and that's why I was really happy coming on here on the show. So about the knitting, right? I don't know if I was like, if I know what I'm doing professionally as a behavioral developmental coach, or what do you
No,
guys call
you're just
yourself?
being a parent, and some
Yeah,
parents
I'm
just
just being a
start
parent
from
because they
yeah,
were on the holiday.
yeah.
They're on a holiday. I don't have TV in my
Who has
house.
instinct?
Deliberately, I don't have TV in my house. So they play around with whatever they see around. Okay.
Yeah.
And as a fashion designer, I work from home. So they are always watching me create. They're always watching me, sew. My first daughter, the 4-year-old, has a lot more interest in sewing. At the age of 2, she was already paddling a sewing machine. I don't know if you saw a video I
I
posted
saw a
on
video of
my
that pattern,
on my
yeah.
YouTube. Yes, using a sewing machine. So I just thought of what I could do to keep them occupied, right? Because at this age, they can't use a sewing machine unsupervised because of the needle, right? So I just thought, okay, let me teach them how to crochet, right? So I got wool and I got the knitting pin and I decided to teach them. Now, they were not perfect. I don't know if you saw the
Yeah,
outcome of the, yeah, they
obviously.
weren't perfect, but it kept them occupied for a while because children get bored after a while. They get bored easily.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's why I did that. But Eddie, I have a lot of questions for you, right? I know we are going to keep this short, so maybe 3 questions. I have a list of questions here. So if I look
Hmm.
down, know that I'm reading my questions, right? I don't
Oh,
want to miss anything. And I want the moms out there who are watching to also see, understand my questions. So I took my time to
okay.
make sure it is very clear for
Yeah.
anyone, who watches this video.
Yeah.
Right. So the first question I have for you, Eddie. Okay, so how does the parent?
Can you hear me, Glow? Can you hear me, Penzra?
All right, can you hear me, Edidio?
I can hear you better. You went off for a minute. Yeah.
Yes, yes. I'm sorry about that. Okay, so my 4-year-old, my first daughter, is very shy, right? And I
Okay.
don't know if it is genetically or genetics because I was a very shy child, right? A very very shy child. And growing up, I had to learn to overcome my shyness. But before I started overcoming shyness, my shyness robbed me of a lot of things, even in primary school. In fact,
Hmm.
because I couldn't partake in, a lot of activities in school, like essay reading, like recitation, like, poem drama. The kids who were able to do that were seen as the stars of the school. Everyone would talk about them, and gradually I started discovering that it affected my self-esteem. I thought I
Hmm.
wasn't as good as they were, or
Mm-hmm.
as they were. And now having kids and seeing them shy, I don't want what happened to me to happen to them. I don't want
Yeah.
their shyness to affect their self-esteem. So that
Yeah.
leads to the question I'm about to ask you now, right? So in what way can parents actively support and engage in social development of children, right?
Yeah.
And I don't know if you can help me provide examples of how positive social interactions are encouraged and challenges with peer relationship can be addressed.
Okay.
Was that question
So,
clear?
so it's very clear.
All
And
right.
I love that you asked this question. And I want to say this again to you that you're doing very well on your parenting journey. And to answer this question, that you're already doing this as your friend and as a kind of a soul sister. I see that I'm serious. I'm actually serious because I see the effort that you put into getting that done in terms of trying to get your child to break free from the social struggles that you had as a young person. And I say this because I know you take your children out on play dates, you take them out on swimming dates, you also actively try to create a certain kind of environment that, for example, I remember during Edima, and I think it was their end of the year party or something. They had this all dressed up. I know that I know that Zoe was still shy. You understand? And
Yeah.
because she's a shy child, and I keep saying it, all children are not the same. So you see that if you want to compare Dima and Zoe, you see that Edima is a social butterfly. She's out there already.
Yes.
Do you get? That one is there.
Yes.
But you also see that Zoe is becoming a little bit open. There was a video of her that popped up yesterday doing video, hello guys, this, that, that. That was not Zoe 2 years ago. Zoe would definitely not go carry this and that. So I think you've created, for me, that to answer the questions, parents need to create an environment that promotes social engagement. By example, dealing with social activities. You have people visit your office, your company every now and then because you're a fashion designer and you create content every now and then. You're going on social media teaching people, and your children are there seeing you.
Yes.
You as a child probably didn't have access to that because I know where you come from. Your parents were really, reserved. You are going to church and school and and back home. Your mom was a nurse. Everybody is conserved. There's not much outing out there, right? Everybody is trying to live their quiet life, and the place you guys lived in is a very quiet. Everybody's on their own, do your stuff. But the environment your child is currently is different, and I bet you that when Zoe turns, let's say 5, 6, 7, she would definitely start engaging with people because you have created that social environment where she's meeting people daily. She's watching the way you are chatting and bargaining with people and negotiating with your customers. She's also watching how you are actively taking her on play dates. So how to solve this problem? Take your children out on play dates, create an environment that allows them to learn. You already said it that you don't have TV in your house. So that's actually something I really appreciate. I'm not saying that that's what all parents should do, but what actually improves child development is allowing them to engage with the physical things that are around them. It improves that physical child development because they can use different other things, materials in the house that are present where they can engage with, which can help them form their motor skills, which can help them, you know, kind of understand this particular item. Or let's say for example, in your home you have trees. I see that you plant, and then I see your children
Yeah.
running around you. Those things
Mm.
promote not just a social development for the child and the physical development. It also promotes intelligence for the child and opens them up to want to learn and understand more. So I think that you're already doing it. And if you're a parent in Glory's shoe, I think what you should do is to create that environment. You might not do it intentionally, but you can intentionally now start doing it because I don't think Glory is doing it intentionally. Glory was just living her life. She's just she's just living her fashion designer life, not knowing that it has an impact on her child because that's what I see. Imagine that yesterday I stumbled on on Zoe's page and Zoe is carrying hello guys. Like Zoe would not have done that. Do you get what I'm saying? I was so impressed
Yeah.
and I just feel like it is a matter of time. Another thing I tell parents is allow time to come along. And if you have a child who is shy, just create the environment, and after a while, they will come around. And that's what I've seen with Zoe. So that's what it is. And I think you're already doing it. So don't worry yourself about Zoe. After a
Mhm.
while, she will become a badass more than yourself.
Okay. Oh, amen. Oh,
I think
amen.
you
I
are
really
already.
want her to be bold.
But if you agree with me, Glo, is Zoe the same Zoe that she was when she was born?
No,
Like born,
no.
born.
There've been some
She's
changes.
becoming, yeah, she's becoming more open. And then I
Yes.
also understand that some children will not just suck up to you. They want to know you first. They want
Mm.
to understand the environment. Other children are very spontaneous. Like me, I'm very spontaneous. They want to understand and understudy the environment. And we're all different. It's temperamental differences. We're all different. And yes, genetics has a role to play in these things. Some level of genetics has a role to play. However, it is still the environmental and psychological factors that play a huge role too in what the child turns out to become. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Thank you, Eddie. Thank you. So I should just keep doing what I'm doing, create the
Yep.
right environment for her,
Yeah.
and she will be bold, right? Okay. As
Yeah.
a
And
content creator,
I also think that intentionality of allowing them engage with what is around their environment is great. It's a great thing.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay. So now I'm an African mom that was raised by an African mom. My ass was whooped whenever I misbehaved or did not do as my parents told me to do.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
now I'm now a mom. And
Yeah.
I come on social media and I hear other moms say stuff like, don't beat your kids, you know. There's a term they call it. What do they call it, Didio? The moms
Don't
that
hit.
don't beat.
I don't
No,
know.
there was a
Is
trend
that
one
a
time in mom communities. There's a term they use for it where parents don't beat their kids, you know.
Oh,
And
really?
I don't know if their own children are like my children, but if you tell my daughter, leave that place, you might have to say it 5, 6 times, and she still might not leave that place until you get up and pinch her cheeks a little or smack her butt a little, right? That was how we grew up to know how to correct children. Okay. So that leads me to the next question now. So could you elaborate on the right approach to discipline and consequences when it comes to addressing negative behavior in children? Are there specific methods or techniques that have proven effective in guiding children's behavior?
Okay. So now I'm going to start with the example that you gave. Hmm? What you call negative behavior and what you call every one of us have what we consider to be negative. For example, you said, oh, you tell your child to leave a particular sport. Say the child is close to a gas or some apparatus or something that can be of harm to the child, and you
Harmful.
are
Yeah.
concerned that the child being there is going she's open to she's at risk and she can get hurt, right? And as a
Yes.
parent, as an adult in the child's life, you are supposed to guide them out of there. But let me ask you a question. Does your child know that a 2-year-old literally does not know that as I'm standing there beside gas and I'm playing there, I'm going to something might happen, or as I'm standing on a wet floor, I can slip off, or as I'm
Hmm.
you don't have the developmental capacity. I keep saying this to understand you as an adult. They don't have it, and I keep saying this. You cannot tell me that by 2-year-old you knew that a knife was very sharp and that if you play with it, it's going to hurt you. You would probably it must have happened to you
Oh,
for you to say,
sorry to interrupt you. They call it gentle parenting.
oh,
I
gentle
just
parenting.
remembered.
Yeah,
Gentle
gentle
parenting. Yeah.
parenting. GP. Anyways, so your child does not understand why you want them to leave that sport. They don't. They literally are just exploring. A 2-year-old is
Hmm.
exploring. 3-year-old is they are toddlers. They are going to explore. So when it has to do with hitting a child for certain things that they don't have the capacity to understand, I frown against it. I totally, if it is something that you can do without flogging in a certain situation, I think parents should not consider it. However, to answer your question, I wouldn't say flog or don't flog, because in all sincerity, if children, when my niece came to stay with me, my my brother was saying, Shebi, you say that we should not flog her. And he showed me shake. I said, your children, hey, God, this girl showed me shake. Hey, I was so angry to the point that I left my phone on my car bonnet, and drove off. Glory. It was halfway through. I saw my phone. See, children will bring out the worst in you. Like, I'm not even kidding you. I was so, I had two toddlers with me. So I took my parents godchild's child, because my parents have this lady that they adopted. So I took them on
Mhm.
holidays. I took her that my god sister's daughter and my brother's daughter. And then my god sister's daughter has another daughter from the husband. So I took that one too, to as help. I had 3 children under my care. I don't know who sent me for 2 weeks. I was running around like a mad woman. It was my niece that was the most annoying. in all sincerity. So they will bring out the worst in you. All she just wanted was to be with me. She just wanted me to cleave to me. It's not like she was doing anything. No. She didn't want to follow anybody. Anybody that wants to carry her, she'll start crying. She will not cleave to me. I'm like, let me work. Let me. She will like, no. So I'm just saying that at that time, I remember how my niece was born. I remember the situation. I remember how the mother had to finish pharmacy school. The father had to go to work every day. Sometimes they would lock her as a toddler. I mean, as a baby in the house. And sometimes they will ask someone to come and look after them. There was just that side of kind of a neglect, kind of. So the child was craving a sense of attachment. That was just what it was. And so, because you are the only person in their life and that they know, and they don't want to be open to any other person, they just want to feel safe. They start crying, and then you start hitting them because they are crying. So I was so frustrated one day that I like, what's wrong with you? And I used this and I now started beating her a bomb bomb. Stay one place, stay one place. You know,
I can relate. I can
stay there.
relate.
You know. So I now asked myself, I had to apologize to her at night because I had no reason to add. She didn't do anything. She just wanted me to hold her. But because me here, I know what made she cleave to my body, you know. And I'm like, I'm sorry that I hit you. She didn't even understand. Person wasted the like that for my body. She didn't understand. So children don't have the developmental capacity to understand what we are trying to get them to do. That's one. Two, when it has to do when your children now grow a little bit beyond toddler age, that is where you now start becoming concerned about consequences and actions. In all
Okay.
sincerity, I see no reason why a toddler should be beaten. I'm sorry. I am sorry because they are at the stage where they need to be guided with their developmental milestones. They just have to be guided. But when your child begins to slide into 7 years, that is why the foundational care is very, very, very important. A 7 year old should now begin to understand discipline and consequences. And it will be easier because you have created what we call family culture. And that's what people call rules and and
Regulation.
well, I call it family culture. Family culture
Yeah.
is something that we all know that in this family we don't cuss out, we don't sleep
Okay.
out late, we there's meal time, there is bedtime. It's
Okay.
difficult.
Okay.
So creating routines allow, and the routines you as a parent are involved. You're
Mm.
not creating a routine that you're not part of.
Okay.
So you can't tell your children bedtime is 9 or 10 p.m. and you're still on your phone. No. It's different if you can sleep when they're sleeping and then wake up later and work. But if you are going to say bedtime is 9, everyone should be sleeping. Don't start beating your children when you are supposed to. I remember my dad used to beat us to take siesta. Meanwhile, him is on his deck so reading. I said, I don't understand. We will not sleep, but we'll be in the room making noise. Do you get what I'm saying? So
Yes.
it's not going to work if you're not involved. So now, when we now talk about creating an environment where you can discipline, then we all know that this is the culture of the house. This is the culture of the house. So anyone that goes against this culture, these are the consequences. And now, how you can now bring in those consequences, you can use different means. You can use dialogue to say, okay, these are our consequences. Oh, I've decided to take two out of these consequences, and I'm going to implement it. Which one do you want? Because me, I'm going to implement two. Let them be
Mm.
involved. Let them know that every action comes with the consequences, and not in a critical way. In the form of dialogue, you're talking about this thing, and you are actually doing it. And I say this to parents: do not threaten without enforcing.
Mm.
Your child is going to get used to that threatening and feel like, hello. The
Mm.
moment I'll beat you, make sure that you beat. Oh, that's why you should not say you beat. That's why that verbal abuse should not even be there. That's why you should not
Mm.
say adults, like the moment, let them know that this thing that we are doing, when once I enforce this thing, that is it. When I'm not
Mm.
going back, you're on it, oh, you're not on it, oh. You both of us we're going to agree on your consequences for you doing this thing, breaking this family culture that we've agreed on.
Mm.
And then when once you implement it, the child now knows that, oh, I'm involved now. And a 7 year old right now, assuming we're in this stage now, the 7 year old is there now, and that happens, and there is an enforcement. I bet you the likelihood of that child doing that thing again is very thin. And even if they do, you still repeat it. It becomes a pattern. They know that in our house, oh, more. When it is 7 a.m., it's breakfast. We dey our table, we dey eat.
Mm. Yeah.
When it is 9 o'clock, we dey sleep. Oh, so when we talk about behavioral development, it has to do with routines for parents. It has to do with
Right.
routines, and feeling that routine helps your child kind of develop gradually into that physical child development that sets them up for the environment that they going to go into. Is that Zoe?
It's Zoe. Zoe, please, I'm shooting with Auntie Didio. All right, so Didio, that leads me to my final question, right? So, from what you've said, communication is very important,
Yes,
right? Communicating with your kids is very important,
very,
right?
very.
So now I want to ask you, how effective does communication, the role of effective communication in parenting, right? How does it help shape children's behavior? And how do you ensure an open and constructive communication within your environment as a parent?
Okay, so first of all, I communication is we've established that is a big thing when it has to do with parenting, because it is with communication, and communication is not just verbally. Communication could be in your actions. It is in communication that you'll be able to reward actions. And one of the ways that I tell parents to kind of encourage physical child development is to take note of the good things that your children are doing. I say this over and over again. Nobody is going to be better by us critically and kind of being critical towards them. Nobody. We don't like it. We don't even like to be people to be
Hmm.
critical towards them. Yes, we like constructive feedback, but we don't like to be talked down on. We don't like to be seen like that, like we are inferior. So if as a parent, you notice the good things that your child is doing, or you notice a change in them for something that they've been complaining or they've been dragging you with, or they've been giving you tough time, where you notice that there's a sense of improvement, celebrate it, share with them, reward it. I do remember that my mother is a retired nurse. Anytime that my mother brings her white uniform for us to wash for her, especially me, it was always me washing it though, because she knows that me, I like to clean. So anytime she comes back, she'll give me a white uniform. I'll give it back to her the I think it was weekends, because she had other ones obviously, but by the time she brings it and then I wash it, iron it, I give it back to her. I dangle it in front of her. She'll be like, oh my goodness, look at that. Then she'll now go. She won't tell me, oh. She'll now go inside the room, bring out this underwear. There was this underwear I used to like a lot. This I think we had it in secondary school. This kind of, it was whitish. It had white and black. Then the down part was laced like.
Yes. Oh,
Serious
yes.
used to wear it. So when they want to sit down, they'll carry their this thing up and sit on it. I used to just like it. It was nonsense, but anyways, that was what it was. So anytime my mom notices that I've done something, that she will go in, bring a gift, take. And I'm like, what for? She said, well, just know that in this life, there's nothing that you will do good that you will not be rewarded for. Now,
Wow.
as 12-year-old, I still remember it up until today. Then other times
Wow.
when she does it again, she will use another phrase. She'll say there's absolutely nothing that is free in this world. Everything that you do, you have to be paid for. For me helping my mom to wash her uniform, that other mothers insist that they do it. My mom was literally taking every situation, even though she's not a perfect mother, but I could remember that she was taking every situation to remind me of things that I'm like, oh wow, is that why I did this for my dad? He didn't do the same thing. But my mom here, on the other hand, was always doing it. I didn't have to. She didn't have to really. She could have just said, "Hello, and they pay your school fees, and they buy you clothes." But she
I carried you for 9 months. Very important.
yes.
I carried.
So it was empirical. It was really important for her to do that, because I remember that clearly, and I looked forward to helping her do it. At the point we started struggling to help mom see wash uniform, because we know that we'll collect gifts like jiggets. At the point everybody started struggling, because my mom was, oh no, my mom is a good parent. I give it to her, like she is a good parent.
Wow.
And she does that without even like, why are you doing that? There's a big deal, and I do appreciate that. So I keep saying it. You must reward the good things that your children are doing, because it makes them want to be better. It makes them know that, oh, they are appreciated in their home. And you must, as a parent, take advantage of the situations to communicate to them. Let me give this last example. Someone was talking about her taking her children to school, taking her son to school the other day, and she saw this girl over the road, a young girl who is also the son's age mate. I think 5. I think the child is about 5. And so she says she likes this girl so much because she feels like the girl has this poise, well behaved. You know, these girls that are well
Mm,
behaved,
mm.
smart girls.
Prim
And
and
she's like, oh my
proper.
God. Yeah, prim and proper. And she's a toddler, you know. And then she says, oh my God, see that girl. The girl is so nice, and she knows the girl. So she now said something about the girl to the son, and the son said to her, "Mom, would you have preferred that so and so person is your daughter?" And she's like, where is that coming from? And she didn't even know what to say, in all sincerity, because it be like say you don't go do something when we say your child is not thinking that, oh, I'm not good enough, so now this person wait for prefer be. But I also say that I also commend her, because it takes a home where there is open communication for a child to come up with that kind of question. So yes, that family had a sense of open communication, so that a child will know that, oh, there's something wrong. I can talk about it freely without feeling like, oh, my mother will shut me up or try to push me aside. So when the child asked that question, she was like, oh, she had to rethink again and say, oh no, I would. The boy now said, no, just answer the truth. Don't come and be lying to me. Would you have wanted it? Say, well, yeah, I would have, but you are my son, and I do appreciate. Do you want her to come over to our family? Now the question why they asking me that, like,
Thank
well,
God na son. If he go marry the girl, bring come house.
no. I think the question was because the boy was concerned that, oh, my mother is always appreciating this girl. Is it
I
that I am not good
understand. I
enough?
understand. It
Yeah,
happened to me as a child. My
yeah.
mom was not a perfect mom, also, but there was this mistake she always did. She thought it was helping, but it wasn't helping. It further helped damage my self-esteem, where she would say, "Oh, don't you see so so and so child? Don't you see
Mm,
how they do? Don't you see
mm,
how they behave? Don't you see how they..." Do you understand?
mm.
And because of that, I see those kids as better than me,
Yeah,
right? Because
yeah.
my mom have said they are better than me,
Yeah, better.
right?
Yeah,
But that's not what she implied. What she was trying
yeah.
to say
It
is,
was just
please behave
behave
properly. Take
well.
example
Yeah,
from
yeah,
this person, you
yeah.
know. But
That's what
there's
it was.
also one thing I have learned from that, from my experience, is that from the experience I had with my mom's parenting style, is that when you want to correct a child, even though you want to use another child as an example, it is fair when you also give that child guidelines on how to finally arrive at that end result you want that child to. I don't know if you understand me.
I get
For
what you mean.
example, oh, Peter in your class is always taking first. Peter in your class is always taking first. Does Peter
How
have
many heads
two
do they
heads?
have?
Why
Mm-hmm.
why can't you also take first? I do
Yeah,
everything for you. I provide your books. Yeah, 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 yeah. You don't have
yeah,
any reason why you shouldn't take first. And the child is like, okay, there's no child. There is absolutely no child that you would ask, do you want to take first today in class? That the child will not say yes.
mm,
But the thing is, does that child know how to study?
yeah,
Does that child understand that listening while your teacher is teaching is one of the things that can help you, you know?
yeah.
Does that child understand that when he or she comes back home, she must do her assignments because it's part of the assessment,
That's
you
meant.
know?
Yeah.
So that's one thing I took away from my mom's parenting style. And I told
Mm,
myself I would try very much not to compare my kids. And even if I
mm,
want to use somebody else as example, I would
mm.
make sure I have broken down the
Provided the
steps.
resources that they will
Yes,
need.
a structure, a steps or guidelines to how you can become this thing that I
Yeah.
feel will be good for you as my child. Right. So, Edidion, I know I said I was going to keep it to 3 questions, and so far I see we've gone over 30 minutes now. But let me just add one bonus question that you can just answer in a few seconds now. Can you please give us insights into daily routine and activities you encourage for children?
Okay, so daily
Maybe
routines.
start with my children's age range, right? From
It's
children from
simple.
3 to 5.
It's simple. The routine and the routine and activities, meal time, bedtime. Those are the routine. consistent activity. This is our meal time. This is our school time. This is our bedtime. This is our playtime. Routine activities. Those are the kind of activities that will help with time management for a child, will also help with self-discipline. If you don't have a routine, a consistent routine activity, it will be difficult for a child to be used to it in terms of their physical development as they grow. It will be difficult, in all
Hmm.
sincerity. So those are the kind of activity, and it's not supposed to be rocket science. Actually, just know that, okay, in the morning, we wake up in the morning, we take our bath. You're probably actually doing it as a parent. We take our bath, we go to school,
Yeah.
we come back, we have lunch. Lunch is so and so time. It doesn't have to be a setup like where you have table, and no, we have lunch at 2, and the next thing, we play for an hour, we do our assignment by 5, by 6 we have our shower, we watch something on so and so, or if you have TV, I don't know. But if you have, it doesn't have to be like everyday thing, but we just know that the major activities of the day have their timing. We go to school, we bath, we go to school, we eat, we sleep. Those are the activities that, kind of the major activities that happen in a child's life, unless when it has to do with your holidays and weekends. You can now say, okay, maybe twice or once every Saturday of the month we can go swimming, or
Yeah.
once every year we can go go on play dates. The reason why going for those kind of recreational activities is important, because it helps with social development, and it also helps with brain development, because the child will connect with the environment or around them and learn from those things. I hope that has helped in some ways.
Yes. Thank you
And
so much. Thank you so much. You made
yeah,
mention of something that struck me that I need to be a lot more deliberate about when you talked about family culture,
yeah,
right?
family.
I think family culture just sums everything you've said up.
Yeah, yeah,
With building your family culture, you're going to come up with a communication style for your
yeah,
children. You're also going to come up with a daily routine for your
yeah,
kids. And of course, you would use your words instead of using the cane. You won't
yeah,
spank your kids. Right.
yeah,
Thank you so much, Eddie. This was so insightful. I hope every mom out there, benefits from this conversation we've had this evening. And I hope
yeah.
you also have a way of taking questions from them in case there is a question we
They
left
can
out,
drop
you know.
they can drop questions in the comment section wherever they're watching it
Oh,
from. They'll be
okay.
either accessing this either from YouTube, Instagram, any way they're accessing it. They can drop questions in the comment section. One last thing I wanted to say is, it's easy to come out and say all of these things, but I want parents to understand that we are not perfect, and we would
Yes.
never be. And so the moment I keep saying it, it's just like we trying to create certain behavioral new patterns for ourselves, and you
Mm,
find out that you decide, okay, I will not be engaging in so much screen time again as an adult. You say, okay, I don't want to be going through social media too much again,
mm.
and you start the first day, the second day you find yourself running back. So what you do at that time is to give yourself grace and start again. And that's the same thing with parenting. You could make that mistake, but don't be too hard on yourself when you make mistake, when you make a mistake as a parent, or you're not sure whether you're doing the right thing. The moment you're not sure that you're doing the right thing, don't know that you're doing the right thing. That's what I tell parents, because they're like, did I do that well? Then even if you're not sure, right, and you think that, oh, I actually did the right thing, don't beat yourself up. Try again, go again, do again, give it another try. And I feel like it slowly becomes better. No one has it all figured out. No one. I don't even have a child of my own. I'm just teaching you based on what I have learned over the years. So I kind of don't even know if I'm going to hit my child or not. But I know that with the things I have learned, I will try to create that family culture for myself. In all sincerity, I would make sure that I try, but I would not. I'll give myself grace. I will not beat myself up when I am not getting it right. So yeah, that's what I wanted to add. Doesn't mean that it
Wow.
should not be what needs to be done.
Thank you. We're all not perfect, so we should
Yep.
cut ourselves some slack.
Yes, cut ourselves some slack.
Thank you, Eddie.
You're welcome, Glory. Thank you for joining me, and it was such a good time. I want to say you are an inspiration to us young people. Your resilience, your tenacity, your commitment to growing your business, your family. I don't know how you do it. Today I was just cooking. I was like, okay, so if I had a child, I came back from work very late yesterday, and I woke up very early this morning, started cooking, and I had this recording, and I was just like, so if I had a child, how would I have done? So I don't know how you they do, amo, but Odogu Mama, we they hear you. Oh. You're actually doing very
Ah,
well, Gloria. I do.
now
I'm
you they
really
talk am me. I don't know say I be odogo. I
you
know
are
that
doing very well.
I just
You're combining
struggle.
family, business,
I
content creation
struggle to
in
make
the
it
best
happen.
way. How do you do it? Well
I
done.
even
Thank you
feel
for
I'm not
being
even doing
honest.
it well enough. Like sometimes
You
I am
are.
inconsistent. I have to let you know.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'm inconsistent, and it's just that if I stop, I just make sure I keep going. Like if you want to crawl, crawl, right? If
Yeah.
you want to walk, walk. But
Yeah.
whatever it is, just keep
Just keep
moving.
showing up.
That's
Yeah.
what guides me. And maybe on the outside, you guys see it and think, oh, she's doing well. I don't
You're doing
know.
very
But I just know that I will move and I will keep moving no matter what. I
thank
will
you.
crawl there. Thank you,
Please keep
Eddie.
inspiring us. I hope
Thank
you have a
you.
good evening. Take care and we would chat some
Right.
other time.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye bye.
And recording, why is it not ending?